Imagine buying your dream house only to find out your neighbor has been secretly stealing from you for years. Not just stealing, but leaching up the very water you drink, shower in, and pay for. What would you do? Walk away? Confront him? Or turn his life upside down with the flick of a single switch? Today's story is about how I did exactly that. And trust me, you'll want to hear the ending. If you've ever been wronged by someone who thought they could just walk all over you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more jaw-dropping revenge stories, because this one is about to get very, very satisfying. When I first moved into my new house in Asia's bustling capital city, I thought I'd scored the deal of a lifetime. The previous owners were family friends who needed quick cash, so I picked up this fixer upper for a price that almost felt unfair. But here's the thing, cheap houses often come with expensive problems. The very first day I stepped inside, suitcase in hand, I saw a rusty old motorbike sitting in my garage. Not mine, not even locked, just there like my home was still some public parking lot. I rode it out to the street, called a contractor, and had a proper gate installed the same day. By nightfall, a furious man was hammering on my gate, yelling, demanding his bike back. Through the window, I watched him stomp, curse, and eventually slink away with his motorcycle. That was my welcome gift to the neighborhood. My gut told me this place wasn't going to be easy. Next door lived an old mechanic turned landlord. His house had 3 floors, the bottom one where he stayed and the upper 2 rented out to tenants. I'd already heard the gossip about him. He wasn't happy. My house had been sold. In fact, had tried to convince the previous owners not to sell it at all. He thought he had some kind of claim over this street, this neighborhood. But I brushed it off. I'm 6 feet tall, not exactly easy to intimidate, and I've got 3 loyal dogs, the old man muttered, but he never stepped directly in my way. At least not at first. One evening, while showering, I noticed something strange. The water pressure dropped. Not just a little, it was like someone had turned the faucet halfway off, and then I heard it. The whirring hum of a water pump next door. For those who don't know where I live, water supply isn't strong enough to reach 3rd floor tanks on its own. People use pumps to drag water up. But here's the kicker. When his pump roared to life, my pressure dropped. And when it shut off, my pressure magically came back. Coincidence? Maybe once, maybe twice, but not always. After testing it with different taps around the house, my stomach sank. This wasn't coincidence. This old mantis-bitter neighbor had been siphoning water straight from my line. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. My house had been empty for years. The previous owners lived abroad. They noticed water bills climbing higher, but blamed it on leaks. But no, this parasite had actually waltzed into someone else's property, tapped into their water line, and decided, yeah, this is mine now. It wasn't about the money. Water here is cheap. Even with 3 dogs, a car wash every week, and a garden, my bill should be no more than $5 a month. No, it was about something deeper. It was about entitlement out arrogance. About an old man thinking he could steal my resources, my property, my peace of mind, and get away with it. That feeling of being used without consent is no worse kind of violation. For days I wrestled with what to do. Confront him, file a police complaint, just let it slide. But every time I stood in my shower feeling that pressure dip, the fire in my chest burn, and then the perfect idea came to me. Simple, elegant. Legal. I wouldn't break in, I wouldn't shout, I wouldn't even touch his house. I'd just turn off my water from the mains. Monday night, I waited. I sat by my window in the dark, listening for that pump, and right on schedule, it flicked on, grinding, rattling. Hungry for water, it had no right to. That was my moment. I twisted the valve, my water shut off. His pump kept sucking. See, these pumps don't have feelings. If the tank doesn't fill, they'll just keep running hours, days. As long as the signal says empty. And anyone who knows mechanics knows running a pump dry is like revving a car engine with no oil. It's a death sentence. At 3 a.m., chaos started. The neighborhood woke up. Voices carried through thin walls. Confusion first, then panic. The tenants shouted why was their water gone? Why was their power out? Because here's the thing, his wiring was decades old. The constant strain fried his fuses. Overloaded circuits burned the heart out of his system. By dawn, his house had neither power nor water. The tenants were livid, and in my country, tenants have serious rights. Power and water are essentials. If you fail to provide them, you're liable for fines, penalties, even lawsuits. The shouting turned into threats, and within 48 hours, one tenant had already packed up and left, the other straight to the police. By the end of the week, my neighbor was no longer a landlord. The police fined him 500, a small fortune here. He had to return both security deposits, and until he upgraded his entire wiring system and restored proper water supply, he couldn't rent again. Translation: his only source of income was gone. By Sunday, I watched him load bags into a taxi. He wasn't going on vacation. He was moving out to live with his daughter, broken bitter. All that pride, all that entitlement reduced to silence and me. I didn't have to lift more than a single finger. A couple of days later, he shuffled over to my gate. His face was calm but tight. His eyes burned. "Did you turn off your water?" he asked. Voice tight, I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Oh yeah, my plumber found a leak. Had to keep it off till he fixed it." Silence. A pause thick enough to choke on, and just, "Oh, okay," he turned, walked back, shoulders heavy. And I knew, he knew, but he couldn't prove a thing. This week, I'm hiring a plumber to seal every line leaving my property. No more freeloaders, no more hidden taps. And the best part, I didn't just protect my homie, rid myself of a toxic neighbor. All with one flick of a valve. Two birds, one stone. And one of the most satisfying victories I've ever had. He stole water for years, thought he was untouchable, and in the end, he lost it all. His tenants, his income, his home. That's the kind of justice money can't buy. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes the quietest moves cut the deepest. So what's the lesson here? Never mistake kindness for weakness, and never think you're entitled to what isn't yours, because karma has a way of sneaking up when you least expect it. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen in real life? Don't forget to subscribe, cause the next story might just be even sweeter.